So a bit of a audio check. This might actually be a little louder than I thought. Wearing a different microphone, and I got a bunch of fans going because it's 103 today. So hopefully the mic's okay. Hello, I'm Odin. And it's just me today. Hi, welcome to the Sunday live stream. My name's Odin. Welcome to the Odin Makes live stream. Hopefully you figured out the Odin Makes live stream because that's what it says on the down there somewhere in the YouTube interface. Hi, Felicia's out of town, so she can't make it today. All good. I knew that was coming up. I'm still freaking tired. I'm still really tired from getting a large project done for last weekend. Last weekend, Shop Gremlin and I had built a couple of Emmys. Not that same weekend, but that was the weekend that they were due. I'm sort of saying that wrong. Where basically a year ago, we built a 8-foot Emmy replica for the Northern California Emmys to have at their annual event when they actually award the Emmys for all the news stations, PBS stations, colleges, all the things that don't do full coast-to-coast nationally syndicated shows. Right, so that's the national Emmys. That's the one everyone sees on TV. The regional Emmys happen all the time, kind of. Different regions have them at different times of the year, and it is specifically set up for the smaller markets. That's the television stations that don't run coast to coast. So Northern California plus Hawaii and Reno, which is just on the other side of the border in Nevada from California, that's all kind of lumped together. And Northern California is pretty much down to Bakersfield, I think, is what they consider. I think the mountains there above LA separate Southern from Northern California in television market terms. Mentally, that's where it is, divides for me too, but that's really pretty far south. It's just a nice, easy geological dividing line, eh? So that was last week. The following year, we had built one a year ago, and now this year, one of the things that Shop Gremlin and I really wanted to do was improve on the Emmy that we had made previously. Previously, we were given like a month and a half or 2 months to get it done. Not a lot of time, at least it didn't feel like it, especially when it took them 3 weeks to decide that, yeah, we want to go ahead and do this. Thanks, guys. I might be remembering that wrong, but I think this is about how it worked out. So what we ended up doing was going to Folsom Lake College and talking to their shop foreman, who's named Cameron, to use their shop bot in order to use a CNC router to cut out thick sheets of insulation foam, stacked it together like a layer cake, sanded it down, painted it gold in order to get it done in time. And it was done, and they were happy. And Shop Gremlin and I would look at it constantly and go, it looks like a layer cake, because we were never able to get those lines to go away in between the separating layers of foam. Plus, when the tracking path for the tool was running through the foam to actually route the pieces out. This is a speculation. I don't know how to set the machine up, so I could be wrong, but the tool has a width, so that line has a width. So it feels like when we look at that Emmy that the line for it to cut was in the center of the tool. So half the diameter of the tool was removed from what we wanted instead of the outside tangent, the outside circle, right? You got the circle of the tool in your cut line. Instead of it being over here, we get to save what we want. And then she would have been the right size. I could be wrong. That's the way it felt. It could also be a cause of the way that we stacked it together, then had to sand her down a little bit because that removes the material. The fact that she was terraced in pieces that were thick, and then another piece was set on top, so she had to be sanded to fit the next layer. There's all sorts of things that could have gone wrong for why every time we looked at her, it's like she's small. So we decided to 3D print one. Well, actually, Shop Gremlin decided to 3D print one, and I supported the idea. That's a better way to put it. And so Shop Gremlin did. Once it was 3D printed, the foam one was still probably too small, but honestly, she's a lot smaller than I ever thought she would be. For something that's supposed to be 8 feet tall, this was a tiny little angel goddess on top of the Emmy. So to get this 3D print done, why we didn't 3D print the first time, because we didn't 3D print the first time for a couple of reasons. One of them, the only printer we had that was reliable at the time a year ago was a Mini Prusa. And the Mini Prusa machine prints at less than 300 millimeter cube. It's about 280, I think, which is 10 inches. Of course, this is going to be backwards. It's about, 10, 11 inches. It's not quite, it's decent, but it's not, to print something 11 feet tall, 8 feet tall, that's not really. In the meantime, after that project, we got a hold of a much larger printer called a Mingda. This was a 400 millimeter print bed. So now it's 16 inches at a time, 16 inches tall, substantially larger print pieces. And Shop Grumman figured out how to cut up the Emmy into what was originally 26 pieces, ended up being 28 pieces, or maybe even more, in order to get it printed out in 54 days. Now, that's a long print time because the thought was we're going to print her out in silky gold PLA and do it at an extremely small layer height. The goal hopefully being that we can just glue her together and she'll look golden silky and it'll be fine. That was the daydream. That shattered when we woke up. So after 54 days of printing, successful printing out of PLA, we got all the parts, had to glue it together, and there were gaps, had to fill the gaps, started sanding her because there was rough edges from supports. She ended up being puttied and painted, so the 54 days may not have been necessary. The 54 days weren't necessary. Why are we exhausted? Well, because about a month before the Emmys, maybe about 6 weeks before the Emmys, we get a call back from the same people, good friends. I really like Toby. I worked with him at KVIE. He is a heck of a guy. He is friendly. He is helpful. He is amazing as a person. And he was the contact between me and the Emmy people who were funding this whole project. He says, well, they know that you're making a new one. And they're looking at how to set the stage, and they send us this really crappy drawing, but it's it's a rough napkin sketch as digitally for how they want to set up the stage, the main stage where everyone's going to be giving the awards. And one of the things they're talking about doing is taking the layer cake Emmy and wanting to let's put her on stage. We'll have two of them. It'll be great. Let's just put the one from last year because there's this big, awesome gold Emmy and put it on stage. And all we can think is, you want to put that turd on stage? I mean, it wasn't that bad. It was a layer cake, right? I'm actually being really mean to it, but it's like, yeah, no. Some of the other details, the wing pieces, she was like 150 some odd pieces when she got cut out of foam, something like that. So the wings completely failed. There was no way to easily glue them back together because they are these skinny little things that come up. She's got these like lightning bolt wings coming up off of her back. So I ended up just making it up and just taking a 1.5 inch piece of foam, cutting out the rough shape and toothpicking it literally in place for the show and having it all painted up. So the wings didn't have the curve that they're supposed to have. They were just totally straight and they were literally held on by toothpick and hopes, not even duct tape, toothpicks and prayers. So, the question becomes, okay, they want the layer cake. They're actually going to throw a little bit of money at the project knowing that this is going to take effort, which is super appreciated. So the question becomes, do we want to put effort and stress into building, or repairing, I should say, this layer cake Emmy, and having to build a base for her, and having to build a new science ball for her, because she's holding up a science ball, kind of like, actually we didn't have to, we had the old one, we could have, that's that gold ball back there, because I had to, no, we had to build a second one, because we only had the one, and at the time we were planning on using that one with the new PLA printed one. Anyway, the amount of effort to do all that to get the layer cake to go on stage, when something that the Emmy people didn't know, she was stored in a crate. I'm glad we made a crate for her last year. She was stored in a crate in loading dock here where I've got my studio, and over the winter when some of the strong winds came through, it blew her crate off the dock and she went tumbling. So when we finally got around to doing the whole cracking the crate open and seeing exactly what it looks like on the inside, her middle was completely split. She's able to flex inside. She didn't bounce around. The way the crate was built, she was locked in place and she was good. But she's got this, literally, it's about that big around, tiny little waist. And the whole body flexed while it was inside bouncing in the crate, which made it just completely crack in half. Excuse me, crack in half. And also at that point, Cameron was helping us, because we didn't know how much things were going to weigh, right? So Cameron was helping us with making an internal skeleton, a frame that went inside of the foam Emmy, and it was made out of rebar. Just 3/8 inch rebar, cheap steel that you can pick up at the hardware store, because it's easy to weld, because Cameron can weld. So built up this bottom piece, built up a top piece, and then had kind of like this three-pronged section where they just sort of fit together. And it's like, good enough. We never welded that part together, so that part could move, which made all the foam crack. In fact, we were almost able to just separate her at that point, but we didn't because we didn't have a backup yet. So anyway, yeah, the foam one was like, yeah, this is way too much work to try and deal with. Shop Gremlin crunched numbers, looked at different ways of how to print one up, and long story short, we ended up printing another one out of ABS filament, which is way more of an actual traditional plastic instead of PLA, which is a corn-based biodegradable cheap plastic. Great for beginners, great for 3D printing. It's low temp. ABS is a higher temperature filament. It requires more control over the environment that's printing in. But if you can manage those two things, manage a 120 or so degree environment for it to print in, so all the layer lines will stick together, 118, something like that. That's Fahrenheit. What does that relate to in real world Celsius units? 2x times squared. I don't remember anyway, I'm sorry, I really don't know. It's like 60, I think, right? I don't know. Maybe not that much. Oh, it might be 50, somewhere in there, I don't remember. The devices we have for measuring will tell us, but I don't remember that. Dan Does Junk says, here, good. Steve D is here, excellent. And should I see Shop Gremlin? The Marvel guy's here. And the other really nice thing with ABS is we were able to, I glued it together. I had nothing to do with the printing. Let's be perfectly honest. I had nothing to do with the printing. Not my thing. Instead of a really small, tiny layer height with the hopes that the finished product as is off the printer can go on stage, we knew this was going to take post-processing. So we printed it at a layer height 3 times or 3.5 times the size of the previous one. So instead of 0.08 millimeter layer height or 0.03 millimeter layer height, no, 0.08, getting some confirmation in the corner, we printed this one out at 0.21, 0.28. So 0.28. So 0.08 to 0.28 is 3.5 practically times taller, which meant it printed out in 16 days or 15 days instead of 54. And there were a few pieces small enough that the Prusa could do it. It didn't all have to go through the Mingda. So that meant there was double print time, which also reduced the day. So she printed out in like 10 days. Wish we'd known that the first time around, but that's okay. The really nice thing with ABS is it being a traditional plastic. ABS, by the way, is the same plastic that sewer pipes are made out of. The sewer pipe. It's the black drainage pipes that they sell at the hardware stores. You have the white plastic pipes that are like sprinkler pipe. That is pure PVC. ABS is the black stuff that's a little bit bigger. Because the S is styrene, and the A is acrylic, right? Acrylic butyl styrene, something like that. It is actually meltable by acetone. So ended up taking a large sealable like tote. Found a tote that was polypropylene, PP. So that's not meltable by, sure. Looks like Shop Gremlin's gonna grab it. So it's polypropylene, I think, plastic number 5 for recycling, so it's not meltable by ABS. and it actually has a gasket around the top of the lid of this thing, so it can be sealed. And what we ended up doing, we, again, royal we, oh good, the little one. So have the crate. The lid has a gasket in it. That's, I'm facing the wrong way. That's the blue thing here. And what we ended up doing was setting up on the inside with paper towels. So all these paper towels would get soaked with acetone, and then we had more little, same type of plastic in these little jars to keep everything from sitting on the bottom, to keep it up in the air. So once the paper towels are soaked with acetone, they immediately start evaporating. And you put the lid on it, which this actually is a sealable, effectively airtight container. I mean, it's not perfectly, but for our purposes, it was great. And you can put the smaller parts in here and let them sit for 2 hours. Right, I'm also being reminded that the parts didn't just sit directly on the little jars in here, so don't do that. If you're actually trying to follow this as if it's a tutorial, don't do that. You had the little jars. We took a piece, this is literally a piece of cardboard that we wrapped with aluminum foil. That set on top of the little jars. There's space all the way around so it's not touching the walls. And then you would take your part, because here I 3D printed a computer mouse. You set your part on top of that, and then you would close the lid, snap it all shut, and let it sit for 2 hours. During that 2 hours, the outside millimeter or so of the plastic would become infused with acetone, and it would melt it ever so slightly. And what was amusing is when you first took it out, because you'd be able to open it up and then reach in and just pull out your aluminum foil, and you'd have your melted part, but it didn't look melted. It just looked wet when you first brought it out. But if you give it 5 minutes, the computer mouse, which is a real mouse, I didn't 3D print this, the computer mouse would, surface tension would make the plastic flatten out almost completely, and it would end up looking like antique glass. So it would go from layer line 3D print to basically antique glass, and I don't think we have an example piece for that right here, right now, which, okay. But for a process that took, 2 hours and 5 minutes or so with almost zero interaction from the humans, that was amazing for smoothing her out. You still had to go through and glue her together and putty up and deal with all the seams that fit together, as well as all the corners would kind of balloon a little bit. They'd kind of elephant foot, so everything really had to be sanded on the corners because nothing was sharp anymore. So if you got really sharp, fine detail, I wouldn't put a tricorder in here because he would get mush. But the Emmy, which is a big gold trophy, was perfect. So, it worked well, but it's not something that will necessarily work for every application. So anyway, we did that to all the parts, and then glued them all together. Let's see. Oh, those were all the PLA ones. Okay. And, oh wow, that is not convenient. Thanks, Blackmagic. I can't double click a picture. I have to drag the picture to where I want it. All right. And we end up with a 8-foot Emmy. She doesn't look 8 foot tall here because no one's in the picture with her. But that is the final ABS 8-foot Emmy that we were able to get done in about a month. She was done, I think, 2 days before we had to load the trailer, which was done the night before we drove it down to San Francisco. So unlike last year when we were loading her with wet paint, this year she was done-ish like 3 days before airtime, which I almost never make that type of a deadline. I'm almost always running late. So yeah, she's that base is the same base from last year. Shock Roman cut some new letters and put them on there to update the annual event. So it was the 53rd year. And yeah, it was great. We got to go, and I'm just losing my train of thought. So that was the ABS one. This was the one that was the last minute one, but it ended up being smoother, right? She ended up looking more like the trophy looks, which now I want to pinch zoom and I can't with the way this program works. So the PLA one that we had ended up going on stage with a new base that we made from scratch that didn't match anything other than generally looked like an Emmy base. Now, the fact that this one was faceted, because the model was a very tiny little model that was made for broadcast graphics. So she's got a high polygon count. She's got really big triangles all over her. So her being on stage, those triangles caught the light, which you can't see here. But there's two lights. You see, got the server who is actually down on the floor in front of it. That's the woman that's in the frame there. Just to the left of her head on stage is a LED light that's pointed up at the Emmy, and that was a color changing light. So as the night progressed, the live director or the lighting op or whoever it was decided to change colors, and she'd be uplit with blue or uplit with purple or uplit with some other color in order to make her interesting and make things change. And the polygons would catch that light and added another texture to her that, for me, doesn't belong because Emmys don't have polygons, or at least not ones that big, but it worked really well on stage. But yeah, and in the end, we were able to get 2 Emmys completely built. The one on the right is fully 8 feet tall, almost to the inch, to the top of her science ball. The one on the left is obviously a tiny bit shorter, but that's mostly because the base is shorter, because the science ball and the Emmy herself are the same size, right? They're the same file. The difference being I actually bit the bullet and tried to work with Blender and did a polygon upscaling. I can't remember what it's called. There's a term for it. Anyway, which really smoothed out the low polygon version, made it much nicer, and that's what we printed the ABS with. And what little bit of swirly artifacting that was left from that upscaling just went away with the ABS. So we were able to have 2 of them. But even the polygon one, it's really low res, but you might be able to see a little bit here. This is before she got painted. I think this is when she was finally finished with her second coat of primer. You know, it's one of those things where as you're building her, you're constantly doing putty work on her and filling in different pieces as you're building. And you got to sand all that down, and then you want to spray her with primer, and then you see problems, and you can sand her down some more, and then ultimately you get to a level of primer, and then you want to do a light sanding on the primer if it's going to end up being metallic, so she can be all kind of shiny, and it ended up working out really well. Another picture of the build process. She was just built from the ground up. The foot was designed to plug into a piece of wood, so she could be fit into the stand. So in this case, there's a 1-inch wooden dowel clamped to a vise on a little stool that you can't see in the picture. And she's built up off of that. There's a PVC frame inside of her, so she's still got some kind of a frame inside, but she's so much lighter weight than last year. And the science ball, which is the thing she's holding, you know, this thing, that science ball is actually made out of Sintra. So it weighs nothing. Well, it weighs something. It almost weighs too much to support itself, but not quite. So it really weighs like, you know, ounces. It's not even like a pound. It weighs nothing. And of course, it still has cat toys on it for the electrons. But as the different PLA pieces were glooped on there and glued together, and she was filled with expanding foam, there was different creative things that we had to do to hold the parts together while everything's set up. This was prepping her to glue her head on, which is the last piece we put on. The arms were put on, and then we poured down. I guess the head wasn't the last piece. The arms were glued on, and we poured foam down through the open wrists on this one in order to fill the arms up. But the wings were filled as individual pieces, and then cut the overflow foam off and glued them on. And in the end, unlike last year where we tried to keep the wings separate, this year we just let the wings be secure and on as one piece. which made her a little harder to move around, but made her so much better on stage. But we ended up getting the head on, going back to this picture, and this is when we were gluing the hands on. So that was the last piece to go on. This one was the hands, because with the PLA one we got built first, because the ABS one was still printing while we were building the PLA one, and we had to figure out exactly where the hands were going to glue on, how the PVC pipe was going to fit into the hands to give them a little more support. Was the screw, because there's like a 1/4 inch screw that screws the ball to the hands, was that going to go into the PVC pipe? Was that just going to go into a couple of IKEA style nuts that got glued into her hands, and that was it? Which ended up being the case. There's just a couple of receiver IKEA style 1/4 inch nut receivers, which of course they're not IKEA because they're standard, that are glued into the palms of her hands, and that's how she holds on to the science ball. But yeah, this was exhausting. I'm actually still kind of not over it, because in addition to working on this constantly and stressing about it, I had other big stressors going on, like the rent for storage unit that we had was going to skyrocket. So I had to move everything out of storage and into the shops. That's why it's so lovely and congested behind me now, because couldn't afford the uptick in that rent. So everything goes back in the shop for the time being until a new solution can be found. And that had to happen as soon as the Emmys were over. So that's what I did most of last week. By myself-ish, because shop grumman hurt their elbow, which I'm not happy about at all, and I'm not mad about at all. Shop grumman totally talked about it on Discord. Not going to give the full disclosure of everything here, but honestly, can't pick anything up, so pretty much I had company unloading the storage unit, which is cool and appreciated, but you know, Shop grumman does everything that they can. I'm not trying to make it sound like they don't do anything at all, because they do. They actually, I'm afraid that they will hurt themselves more if they don't calm down. But, you know, constantly trying to do. But that's how, over the past 2 weeks, while I wasn't getting any of the videos out and didn't have a live stream or whatever, because I feel like I'm a week off from where I should have been for a live stream, we were doing this whole Emmy thing. Last week I couldn't stream because I woke up in San Francisco. I was in the wrong city to live stream from, unless I wanted to go visit Adam Savage, which I'd love to, but you know, that's not really something I can go do on a whim. Yeah, so back here now doing a live stream, and I found one other picture in my phone that's kind of fun. Here's a TIE fighter sculpture I had absolutely nothing to do with, but it's sitting next to the freeway in Woodland, California. That's a car parked next to it. Yeah, that TIE fighter sculpture is probably 12-inch action figure scale, or even a little bit bigger, but it's all like galvanized, and it's got the full cockpit ball in the middle. You just can't quite see it when you're driving north going past it. It's just the solar panels. And whenever I'm coming back down 5, it's always at night, so you can't really ever get a picture of the front of this thing. But it's in the tractor museum, so I suppose if I ever bother to go over there to look at some old tractors, which would be cool, I might be able to walk up and touch the TIE fighter, because it's just outside. Hi, so now you're caught up. We built a couple Emmys, drove them down to San Francisco, drove them back up to Toby's house. Thankfully, the Emmys are currently living in Toby's garage, which is insulated, by the way. That's important to know. We didn't take a 3D printed PLA Emmy that's, you know, 4.5, 5 feet tall and put her in a garage where she's going to melt. His garage is fully insulated and maintains a good temperature, so she's safe. And the fact that she's not in here means she's safe. And then, yeah, did some heavy moving in the background and broke ourselves. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to the live stream. Now you're caught up. So that was the Patreon portion. This is the portion of the live stream where I try to talk to just my Patreon friends, most of whom heard a lot of the story already, at least in text. But for those of you lovely people in the future who are watching, all this type of information is shared, more pictures are shared, Shop Gremlin talks more, all on my Discord, which if you go to patreon.com/Odin Makes, you'll easily find out how to get access to my Discord, and you can talk to us most of the time. One thing I haven't done yet this live stream is look at comments. Dan Does Junk says it still looks great with the polygons. Yeah, no, it really did. I personally had the whole hang up of, but the trophies don't have polygons. She's smooth. She needs to be. Literally, I just couldn't get past that. But no, she really did look great. And had lots of people. I mean, Shock Gremlin was right. She's going to look great on stage. And she did look great on stage. We had lots of people who watched it because the Emmys were streamed. While we were there at the event, there were video monitors set up everywhere where they could show the clips, they could show people walking up to the microphone, they had the lower thirds, because this is all about TV, right? It's awards for TV excellence. So of course, they have a full live TV crew set up there at the hotel, shooting the whole thing, so this feed can go out to the other rooms. It's in the reception area where the other Emmy was standing, where you get your picture with it, and it was live streamed over the internet where people could watch it. And yeah, no, she looked great. Had a number of people that knew that was working on this that watched the live stream. You know, Ashley here at the media center was one of them. I was just like, wow, she looks really good on stage. And yeah, she really did. She really, really did. I was just hung up on that tiny little detail because artist brain, ADHD artist brain, couldn't let go of the tiny little detail that the polygons on an Emmy trophy aren't that big. So what does that really mean? When you're working on a cosplay, know that people are going to look at what the cosplay is overall. They're going to go, oh wow, that's a big Emmy. Whereas the artist is going to look at it and go, I hate that little part, so I hate the whole thing. But people are going to look at it and go, oh wow, that's a big ass Emmy. So that's the lesson I really have to remember. And it's funny that I'm able to say that to people, but this is another one of those times where, Odin, hello, people can be excited, it's just a big ass Emmy. So when you're doing a cosplay, don't be too hard on yourself. Just get it done, get it to the show, have fun with it, and next year you can improve on it, which is exactly what we did. So yeah, don't get hung up on those details. Get hung up on the details that are important for the cosplay, right? Like if you're going to be a Ghostbuster, you're going to have the jumpsuit. You're going to have to have the jumpsuit. You have the name tag. You're going to have to have some gear. Do you have to have a Proton Pack? No, they don't wear a Proton Pack 100% of the time in the movies. They don't wear jumpsuits either, but you're going to want a jumpsuit so the people at the con know what you're supposed to be. Now, people at the con are going to ask, where's your Proton Pack? But you don't have to have one all the time. So if you know, the same type of thing. You don't have to have everything, but we do, because that's what we do. And I do, because that's what I like doing, right? So I get it. But this is the lesson showing me that it's okay to get something really close, go to a con, have fun, and then improve on it. And go to another con and, hey, look, I've got improvements. And the people who know, you, the people who know how the process is done are going to get a kick out of seeing what's been improved. And the people who just are excited to see the character they want to see are just going to see the character that they want to see and are going to be excited. So it works out really well all the way around. My plan wasn't to go into this long story to have that moral lesson, but it worked out that way. And honestly, yeah, trying to remind myself that's true. That, yeah, the polygons are okay, Odin. No one's going to care. No one did. Odin's the only one that cared. Odin had to let go of it. Will Connors is here. Hello, everyone. Oh, good. And Steve V said, you both look like you had a good time on the Discord pictures and scrub up well. Yes, Steve D, thank you. Shock Gremlin and I did post pictures of ourselves with the full Emmy on Discord, but those are Discord pictures because that was the place to share them. So if you really want to see those, if you want to, and it's funny because the picture, so the picture that was taken by a friend of mine, a really good producer, someone I've won 2 of my Emmys with. By the way, I have won 4 of them. You know, I've made 3 now and won 4. two of those that I've won were working with Joyce Mitchell. She is very much an old school news hound that worked with the NBC affiliated station here in Sacramento. And when she retired from news, became an independent producer. I worked with her at KVIE and done a few other things with her outside of that. And her husband was babysitting the Emmy. Basically, you have a really big, cool cosplay and you want to walk around the con, you need a handler. You need somebody to make sure that people aren't tripping over your tail, or you're not stepping on a little kid, or they're not grabbing something inappropriately. And that's exactly what Eric was doing. He was the handler for the Emmy, making sure nobody tripped over her, nobody stepped on her, nobody grabbed anything inappropriately, because the drunk people grab the female form of the Emmy very inappropriately. That's just wrong, guys. It's just, yeah, she's only a statue. Don't think about it too hard with how tall she is, because she's not that old with how tall she is, dude. But anyway, she's an inanimate object that's a representation of something else and has no meaning other than what we throw at her, right? So that's the important thing. So Eric was there to be a handler, and when he took our picture, did the really nice thing, because you do a picture like this, and you can easily see, especially on us older people, so you do a picture from higher up, and that hides this and gives you a better jawline. Well, when you look at the picture in Discord, it also looks like we're really tiny on table next to a regular sized Emmy, kind of like Advexen posted a GIF of the two little tiny girls from the Mothra movie walking out from behind a stack of books. That's exactly what it looked like. But it is a good picture, so I'm grateful for that. So if you want to see a fantastic picture of Micro Odin standing next to Micro Shock Gremlin, next to the normal full-size Emmy that we built, then please go to Discord, which, by the way, is how they make actors look small and tiny in movies. You just take an object like your Ryobi branded drink cup, blow that up to 8 feet tall, then put your 6-foot actor next to it, and hey, look, now they're 4 inches tall. That is definitely a style of photography. Did it all throughout Lord of the Rings, and it totally works. It totally works well too, because it's all in camera. It looks good. It really works. Shock Gremlin in the chat's laughing. Yeah, I stay behind a paywall. Yeah, right. Also, the other benefit is you get to see me wearing a suit. Okay, maybe that's not a benefit. 11:56. So, Felicia's out. Felicia's out of town. Wanted to talk about the Emmys a little bit. I really appreciate you guys coming on and seeing that. What I'm going to do, congratulate. Okay. What's that? I was trying to remember if, I guess she has talked about, it's just that Felicia doesn't talk about her family much, so I was sort of not. Who won? So Felicia is married. Yeah, we talk about that all the time. We do say Felicia's married, not to me. Good. Okay. So now I feel like I'm not giving away information I'm not supposed to be giving away. So Felicia's husband does work for a Sacramento station, who submitted only one. Oh well, no, I don't know how many times he submitted, but one got nominated, and that one won. So Felicia's husband won his first Emmy 2 weeks ago. So he is also an Emmy award-winning. I think he got it for editing too, which is really cool. So that's awesome. So congratulations, Felicia. Congratulations, Felicia's husband. Oh, he's been on the show, right? So yeah, congratulations, Javier. He wore the Witcher thing. I'm trying to be respectful for other people's families and not give out stuff I'm not supposed to. So totally congratulations, guys. That's awesome that you won an Emmy. She'll be back, I think, in 2 weeks during the next live stream. So feel free to ask her about it, because they weren't at the dinner. They weren't able to make it. We're really lucky in Sacramento. It's only like a 2.5 hour drive to get down to San Francisco. But then you got to park, and then you got to get the right clothes, and then you got to buy the ticket to go to the event, and then you get to sit at the event and get fed and watch people win and applaud and drink at the open bar, which I think you still have to pay for, but there's a bar. They weren't able to make that. so they didn't go to the event. They watched it live streaming. So I didn't get to see what the reaction was for when he won. But that was really kind of fun because you're watching through it. Like I knew that Joyce had a nomination as well, and that was way at the end of the book, right? It was way at the end of the. By the time Joyce's nomination comes up, half the dining hall has emptied because everyone's in the other room where the alcohol is and the awards that they all won. Joyce's show didn't get the winning election, whatever, didn't win, but she still got a nominated show, which is something. I talk about winning 4 Emmys. Truth is, I've got about 12 nominated shows as well, because you have to submit your show. It goes to a different region. The members of that region judge it. And determine if something is worthy of being nominated or not, I think. Yeah, I think it's even at that level. And then a second round of judging happens where stuff is simply scored, and as long as you score high enough, which is pretty high, then you win the Emmy. And if there's enough things in the category, then the highest will simply win. But if there's only like 2 in the category, or even only 1 in the category, it's actually not a guaranteed win. One of my Emmy wins, I was the only program nominated for that category, but it wasn't a guaranteed win because I had to score high enough to win. Thankfully I did. But, which is always kind of fun, and the nominations are, and there are no winners. That's actually happened. That's gotta fucking suck when you're sitting there. It's like, here's my show. What? Jerry Can Cosplay. What did I miss? The Emmys. We talked about a TIE fighter. We talked about an Emmy. We talked about how Emmys fly around with putty, and we talk about how great Emmys look on TV. Something like that. Probably should go live. Sorry, Jerry, that's a really crappy catch-up, but you know. Visibility, public, there is an L in that. Playlists, live streams, Ghostbusters, Proton Pack. Have I touched Ghostbusters yet? No! Talked about them, ever so briefly. Yeah, the only submission he didn't win. Ouch, I know. I've only seen that happen once. But I've been told it's happened more than once in the past 50 years. It was like 2018 or 2017 the last time I went when I had something submitted, and it wasn't my category, it was someone else. It was like, oh God. So that is a possibility. So it's nice that there is. It's kind of nice that there isn't a guarantee that if you're the only one nominated, you're going to win. Hi, so I've gone to public, and meaning that I've opened up the live stream to be publicly found. Hopefully more people will pop in because it's always fun to have more people pop in. And I want to just say hello, welcome to the Odin Makes live stream. My name is Odin, and with me today is nobody. Felicia's out of town and can't make it to the show. Now there is a cryptid running around in the studio. They already handed me an acetone bath device, which I talked about 15 minutes ago. So if you happen to see someone pop up and walk around, that's just one of the shop cryptids that are here. Actually, it's the only shop cryptid. There's a shop cryptid, and then there's a poltergeist that thankfully doesn't live in this room, but it's in the building. But anyway, my hope for today was to do 2 more things. I wanted to talk about the Emmys, which I did. Still kind of want to do a video of them. Actually, I really want to do a video. Talking about it reminds me that would be fun to do. I've just been exhausted from getting all this other stuff done, as well as additional stressors. That's just killed my motivation to anything. Get off the couch, which I still haven't really sat on the couch in weeks. What I wanted to do today was work a little more on the wiring harnesses. We finished the actual wires, which got buried because there are elements of the shop that are stacked 10 feet tall now. but we got the wires done a couple of weeks ago, last time Felicia was here. What I wanted to do today was take some pieces of aluminum, because I want to go ahead and make these parts out of aluminum because it's not going to weigh anything. There's a couple of little half sickle pieces that go just above the cyclotron that fit over the wires, that kind of squeeze the wires together. It sort of looks like a really fake bullshit SCSI port, but it's not. It's literally just a couple of pieces of aluminum. Wanted to get those cut out. I'll need to cut out 4 of them, and then maybe a plate that goes on the inside of the foam, because my plan is to cut out this piece of aluminum that I believe fits right around in here. I believe. I don't think it's on this side. I'm pretty sure it's on this side. It's okay. I'm not going to glue them on today, but I got to cut them to make them fit this radius. And then on the inside, I'll need to put in a plate, because this is just foam, so I can run screws through it, which that's some long screws I probably don't have, and actually anchor them down. And that's how I plan on attaching the lower portion of that wiring harness. It may actually be over here is where it comes off of. Yeah, that's got more room. I bet it's over here. I'll have to look at the pictures. I don't have it memorized, and I'm not committing to screwing that on today, so I don't screw it up. So I'll screw with that later. But it'll probably come off over here. And I'm going to wait to do the wiring harnesses with Felicia here, because she's going to have a lot of fun doing that. But I can make these parts. And then I've got a package to open up the stupid monkey sent me from way up north, from the Great White North. And so I'll be opening that up and having fun with that in about an hour. So first thing I need to do is find the master plan and figure out exactly how I'm going to go about cutting this aluminum. And what's going to be really fun for you guys is you're going to get to hear with my lovely microphone, I can turn it down, just how well a bandsaw squeals when you cut aluminum. It's going to be fun. Someone's going to throw something at me. Ah. Oh, do I need to look at what the things are? Oh, look at that. Yeah, there's a lot more. Whew. Hello, everyone. I want to thank you for jumping in on my badly promoted yet still happening live stream. I'm getting nods from the cryptid here in the shop gremlin, that I've got comments. Which I got Dam1234 Dog, or Damage, or DG, says hi. Is it warm enough for you, Jerry Can Cosplay? Yeah, Steve and Jerry, how is it for you guys? Because I'm at least further south on the globe. I may be on the other side of the globe, but as far as proximity to the equator, I'm a lot closer than you guys are. So yeah, if it's really hot for you, it's miserable hot, isn't it? It's like sticky, miserable hot. Games and Stuff says hi. Bryce New. Hey Odin, excited to see more Proton Pack progress. Try saying that 3 times fast. Excited to see more Proton Pack progress. That was once, good enough. Lion Primal says hello. Optimus Primal? No, Lion Primal. Joe says, happy Sunday. Happy Sunday, Joe. Ender Kid, are there any props that you'd be interested in making or that would be cool to make but hard in execution? Yeah, anything with a really cool transparent visor. I would love to make the helmets from Battle of the Planets. Gotcha Man. Gotcha Man was the original translated title for the Japanese animation. Became a 70s television show that was badly re-edited with additional animation called Battle of the Planets. I watched it when I was like 7 because for the adverts they used the theme for Star Wars, and that totally sold me. That's all it took. But they have these visors that are bird beaks, right? So the leader, I think, is a sparrow, and you've got the kid that's got Tourette's, and he's a duck. And you've got the engineer guy who's big, and he's an owl. And you got the female, who they call Princess, because Star Wars, I guess. And she's a swan. And you got the cocky Starstream type character who's a hawk, I think. I don't remember. Anyway, they're basically glorified motorcycle helmets like everything was at that time. There's anime, by the way. It was never a real prop, at least not what I remember. But the visors would be, they're just vacuum formed, Odin, and then all you want to do is dip them into synthetic dye bath to dye them the color you want. It's not that hard. Well, no, it's not. If you got all that stuff already. I don't have a vacuum form machine currently. The one I had, I lost about 25 years ago, and I haven't replaced it. I've got instructions to build one, but I haven't gotten around to building it yet. So why would it be hard in execution? Because I got to build all these dang tools in order to make it before I can get around to actually making the part I want. Which is okay. I'm not mad about that, but that's the first thing that comes to mind. Halo helmet, Doom Guy helmet, you know, any other really cool. It might be slightly easier to do a domed face, like an Outland helmet, Outland, the old Sean Connery science fiction movie, or the alien space things, because I recently found, or it was through a Reddit thread, somebody posted how they were blow molding acrylic spheres. So they would heat up the plastic, clamp it into a frame that also had a high temp rubber gasket in order to make it like you give it grip, right? And then out the backside was a pressure hose for an air compressor. So heat the entire thing up, bring it out, hook up the air compressor, turn on the pressure, and then literally inflate the hot plastic. And they had a little guide on a piece of all thread so they could measure, I'm gonna want a dome that's gonna be 16 inches tall or whatever. And so they could set that there and inflate it until it got right up to it. You didn't want to touch it because that would ruin the tip. And get it, you know, don't ruin the tip, guys. That would ruin the very top of the dome. It would put a flat spot and make it optically weird, because what he was doing was making domes to cover his telescopes. So he needed optically clear stuff. But using this heating up the plastic, and then pressure, which is the same as vacuum forming. It's just pressure forming. You're putting positive pressure inside the plastic versus the atmosphere of the planet, instead of reducing the pressure behind the hot plastic, using the atmosphere of the plastic to push down into the void. It's the same process, as you're just kind of reversing where the pressure is going. But by doing it that way, there was no contact with the plastic. It was stretching out as equally as it wanted to be, and you would get optically clear enough domes. And oh yeah, I'm excited about giving that a shot. Am I gonna do it? Yeah, probably not. But you know, never say never. And the fun thing is, as long as you don't mind it doming out in whatever way it wants to dome out, you could cut out different shapes. You wanted, you know, the Prometheus style helmet, that's the long egg shape. You could do the big oval and make a dome that way. I could see cutting out a coffin type shape and maybe even having a couple of walls with something that isn't too abrasive for the plastic. So it would inflate a little bit, hit those walls, and give it some facets on the side and give you a really weird science fiction helmet. I could see that working, but it might require a little extra cleanup steps, but it would work well for a costume, and it would probably work well for a movie. And that I have interest in, because that's something I've never quite gotten to work before. And that little Instructable, this was about 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago on Reddit, where I saw this thread. That instruction obviously piqued my interest. It's called a ribbon cable clamp. So I'm going to be making the ribbon cable clamp. Thanks, Bryce. Oh wow, I actually kind of came right back at the next thing, right after Ender Kid. Ender Kid is anything like Ender Chest and Ender Man? Jerry Ken Cosplay, can you say aluminum the British way? Go on, aluminium, say it right. The problem is I grew up over here where you measure things by inches and nuts and pounds and cows and yeah. It fits above the left cyclotron. Okay, cyclotron light. It fits above the, okay. I'll figure out exactly where the ribbon cable mount goes when it's time to mount it. Meantime, all I gotta do is shut up and cut out some pieces of aluminum. I want to do it out of aluminum. So the shop is really craptastic right now. So I don't have a thick piece of flat aluminum. I've got some angle iron, well, it's angle aluminum, that's 1/8 inch wall. This should be enough to make my clamp. I haven't looked at the pattern, but if it's not, I have a little bit of U channel left over from the Titan 360 camera mount that I made. and I can cut the ribbon mounts out of this. The only issue is the bandsaw screams when I'm cutting. So I have to turn the mic way down, or yeah, I'll probably just turn the mic way down because yeah, you don't want to hear that. I got a camera pointed at it. Oh, sorry. Oh, that was lovely. I've got a camera pointed at the saw, so when I do start to go to cut, you can kind of see it. My hand might get in the way, and hopefully it won't turn into an old live leak video. If you don't know what that is, don't look it up. Steve D says it's the first hot day for hot weather for us. 25 degrees here, but it's nasty heat, right? Oh, I bet. Yeah, no, it's going to be 103 here Fahrenheit, which Dan or somebody else who's smart will be able to translate those two numbers to 25 Celsius. Yeah, I get the nasty heat, the sticky heat, the humidity, right? The water content in the air makes, and the lack of air movement can make the heat so much worse. Yes, Felicia's out of town this week. Angel Soft ad. Okay. Marvel Guy's excited. He got to interview with another YouTuber at the con he just went to. Trimming a prop of the Star Saber from the Transformers Prime. I probably could. Right now I need to get my shop put in order so I can get excited about making props again. Happy Sunday, Stefan Keller and best wishes from Germany. Thank you. Happy Sunday to you from USA or California, where the heck I am. Bryce News says the South Dakota Ghostbusters are retiring our Ecto for a boat. We received 10 inches of rain in the last 3 days. Everything is terribly flooded. Oh, wow. So you can have, like, what's that going to be, the Ecto 4 and the Ecto boat? I mean, that's interesting. It's close to 40 degrees. Wow. Is that, our temperature is close to 40 right now? Wow. Yeah, but it's not the same type of heat that you guys have because it is a drier heat. I can actually, so if I go outside right now here in California and I'm in the sun, it's miserable. Well, it is to me because I'm not a huge worshiper of the sun and I don't like heat. But I can go just into the shade and there's relief. When I'm assuming that for you guys up north on the other side of this rock, if you go into the shade, there's no relief because the sticky, the humidity in the air, that heats up too, so you're not able to get away from the direct heat of the sun. For the most part, being in a more desertish area, which we're supposed to be an agricultural area, but let's be honest, guys, California is a desert. Or it's going that way anyway. It's not Arizona yet, but it's going that way. Yeah, so I can actually just... Also, there's a nice huge swing. It was 62 for the low and 103 for the high in Fahrenheit. That's huge. 62 is way lower than comfortable air conditioning. 103 is way hotter than comfortable room temperature. In fact, 103 is really good for printing PLA. So if any of you have got a PLA project you got to just get done today, take that sucker outside. No, don't do that. It'll get dusty and it won't work. But it's the right temperature. All right. By the power of Wiki, the Marine Ecto 8, also known as the Ecto H2O and Ecto 8, okay, is a boat that is used to get to Shandor Island. All righty. Interesting. Well, thank you, Advexen. Appreciate that. Ecto 8. All right. Is that from the cartoon? I am out of touch on that one. Shandor Island sounds familiar enough to make it sound familiar, but yeah, nope, drawing a blank. In order to get this cut, I have to shut up. And I have to remember that on this particular live stream, I'm wearing a body mic. So even though I'm not facing the camera, you guys can still hear me. All right. We've got ourselves the master plan, which includes P-tube stuff. You guys have been so incredibly supportive of this long-term project. Can I get distracted again? Is it okay if I get distracted again? So I dug out the project box. This is going to happen. I swear this is going to happen. Well, shock room and dug out the project box. But project box was dug out, and then we had to dig through it, right? I was trying to find if somewhere in this mess of a box I happen to have the pattern piece that I need in order to make the ribbon cable clamp. Now I'm looking price new, and it's already fallen off. The ribbon cable mounting clamp thingy. And as I dig through all this looking, I come across, oh, there's the Chinese New Year thing that Felicia gave, because it's fun to give this kind of stuff, you know, for Year of the Tiger. Yeah, that's almost not on screen. For, yeah, Year of the Tiger here in the project box. So what does that mean? We're currently in Year of the Rabbit, and last year was Year of the Dragon, and the year before that was Year of the Tiger, if I remember correctly. So this is, oh, now it's got thread in it. Okay, so maybe it's repurposed. But yeah, so that was fun to see. It's like, wait a minute, how old is this again? There it goes. The poor box is abused to hell and back. I don't think, this is all Neutrino One parts. Yeah, because we cut the piece. It might be in the other box, which is a little hard to get to. So we cut the piece out of foam, but I don't want to make it out of foam. Not at this point. We didn't make the cables out of foam. I don't want to make the clamp out of foam. And at 12:20, he actually started touching the Proton Pack project. It is going to be a little hard for me. This is all Neutrino One. This is General Leia. There we go. More belching. It's really nice when you're wearing a microphone. You know what? I need more carbonated drink. These plans are the plans from Lost Wax Oz, put together by Chris, which honestly is like a 38-page PDF. It is extremely well written. There it is. Rainbow cable flange. Cut one for 6mm foam. That's what I want. That part right there. You guys can't see it at all because it's a tiny little thing. 3. It's that part right there. It was almost the right size. Oh yeah, that just blows right out. You guys can't see anything at all. It's here. So I'm going to cut out part number 63. Oh, wrong. Here, we'll switch through all the cameras. Rainbow cable flange. Cut one for 6mm foam. Now the plan with this was always to keep a set of plans in the book so we could find them, like I just did. So I don't want to cut this piece out. I want to trace this onto something else and cut the something else out, and then use the something else to make marks on aluminum so I can go make the bandsaw squeal, and then I'll stay in here with the Ryobi belt sander by hand and sand the edges down, all of which will warm the aluminum up, which should burn my fingers. So this entire plan is pretty exciting. So what I'm looking for now is a piece of paper or a little piece of cardboard, which this is great. Look at that. Look at that. That's great. That's what I want. So to make this work without taking anything out of the book, I'm going to try and do a rubbing. So I'm going to take this lovely, hey Jerry, look at that. It's one of these, Jerry. Yeah, it's one of the pencils you gave me. This is an Irish work pencil. Okay. So if you so what I want to do, on this side, I've got the piece I want. And I want to transfer this to my cardboard without cutting this piece of paper. So what I want to do is on this side of the paper, it's right here. I can see it. You probably can't because the camera's blowing it out. I'm going to just take some pencil and mark it. And this by no means is perfect, but it usually works. And usually pencil is better than crayon and other things for the process I'm doing. But if you wanted to take a rubbing off of a three-dimensional object, you know, like you wanted to get the letters off of a monument, or you wanted to get the texture off of a prop you've got to see exactly where the parts are, you could lay a piece of paper over all that raised detail and then just take like a crayon and do this exact same thing to it, and it'll make a mark where all the high points are. So I've got, on the back side of this, I've got my pencil mark, and I want to lay that over my cardboard, I hope. Now, ideally, you want a ballpoint pen or a sharper pencil than the one that I just used, because it wasn't very sharp. So now, while all you see is my finger, I get to try and dig and look for, that's got a sharper point, that might work. This is actually a different pencil. I've got a box of them because Jerry was really cool and gave me a box of them. Jerry can cosplay, everyone. He's got a YouTube channel. Please check him out. I believe the YouTube channel is called Jerry Can Cosplay, and it's really cool. I really like his videos. I like the vibe of his videos. So as I'm tracing over it, yeah, I'm putting pencil marks on my pattern that I want to quote unquote keep, but at least it'll still be in the book and findable. And in the grand scheme of things, I could print another one, but at the moment the printer isn't even hooked up, so still not really an option. I have an absurd collection of rulers, and I'm using a different piece of metal as a straight edge. But definitely applying pressure to try and get the pencil mark that's on the back side of the paper to transfer onto the cardboard. And it's going to be a ghost of an image, or at least it usually is. Oh, you know, there's one other thing I really got to do. I really need to find the cables we made to make sure that if I go through all the effort of making these things out of aluminum, they'll fit. Okay, and I can see it. It's there ever so faintly. You guys may not be able to see it. Can you see if it's on camera 3? That's a totally different light. Ooh, there it is. It's there. Ever so enough that I can see it. So I can now darken this back in. I've got it printed to the new piece. It is a way of transferring patterns if you don't want to hurt it. Additionally, if you have a piece of tracing paper, which may not be enough to, you know, you could take tracing paper and just trace and cut and transfer, but if I was to lay a piece of tracing paper over this and do all the pencil work on top of it, I wouldn't end up with this scribble, but I'm not too worried about this. This is a working document, not a cherished one. So now what I need to do is find my piece of wood that's got my 2 ribbon cables on it that were made, which I think is that way. It might even be behind everything back there. You know what I need to do? I don't need to find the cables. I got to find the tape. Where's the roll of tape? Where's the boat tape? As long as this thing is wider than the boat tape or the flex tape, I'm okay. And sadly, having impacted the shop with a whole bunch of new shit, that's also not easy to find. That's not it. That better not be it. It's really hard not having anyone else here because I can't like really walk off and go look because no one else is here. You'll be looking at this lovely set behind me. This is the one flaw in the plan I didn't think about fully before I went down this path. Welcome to Odin Stumbles. There's lots of different ways you can do something wrong, but this is how Odin does it wrong. DJ Stumpy's just tuning in. What are we doing? DJ Stumpy, at the moment I am trying to make the wire connection harness. Bryce New knows exactly what it's called. That goes on the edge of the cyclotron to mount the ribbon cable that Felicia and I finished a couple of weeks ago. I want to go ahead and make that out of aluminum. So at this exact moment, I'm trying to make a pattern out of cardboard that I can mark on the aluminum so I can go cut all the parts out on the bandsaw. Felicia's not here because she's out of town, so she can't be here. Simple as that. But Felicia's here. We hung the cables up on the board over by the dowel rulers. Did we hung the... By the dowel rulers. Now I'm trying to remember the dowel rulers. I know I'm not on screen. Sorry, guys. I also don't have my glasses on. Problem is, Felicia, while you weren't here, things got moved around, and I think the wires got moved around. I really hope they're not too buried. It's one of those things that I'll see and move with the intent of keeping them safe. But with the dowel rulers, as sad as I really should know what that means. I know we put them on the board. They weren't there because I didn't want to get crap all over them when I was sanding. And there's rulers there, but they're not hung up there anymore. Let me look at the comments again. I love the fact that Felicia's trying to help while she's out here. Thank you! Sean says, clear to say, oh, good. I think it'd be a ruler, but not this book. You hung on the board over by the, oh, drywall rulers, dowel rulers. Hey, Odin, can you just read? Did we hang it on the board over here? I think it got moved since then. Because that is where it went when we were done. Drywall rulers, dowel rulers, you know. Just read the comment right, Odin. You are remembered correctly, it's just not... Ribbon cable clamp! Thank you. DJ Stumpy trying to mile. Ah, dude, just give Godzilla -1 your full attention. It's a great movie. Okay. For this one, I'm going to need my glasses. See, the issue is, I think we had to evacuate storage. So everything that we had in storage in order to give us a little bit of room in the shop came into the shop, which now means the shop, oh, here they are, good, is constipated. And I do believe constipated, hopefully you can hear all the rumbling as I try to squeeze through stuff, is exactly the right way to describe it, because full of shit is pretty much the right way to put it too. Alrighty. Shock Grumman's laughing at me for reading drywall rulers as dowel rulers. Yeah, it didn't make any sense to them either. Alright. You know what I need to do? Replace my soda with bourbon. Okay. Oh, this clamp will work fine. Okay. Hey Bryce, I've got about 1/8 of an inch of clamp on either side of my biggest ribbon cable. Is that enough, or should I make the clamp a little bit bigger? Actually, I can answer that question myself because I need space for nuts and bolts, and there isn't enough space here because I don't want to put Well, I guess I could check, because there's a couple of bolts that go through this whole thing that clamps it together, right? I know they're there on the image of the Proton Packs you guys have shared with me in the past. They don't go through the path of the ribbon visually, right? They're on either side of the ribbon, or is that just where my mind wants to put it because I don't want to put a screw through the visual path of the ribbon? When you look at it actually up close, you know, the ribbon isn't going anywhere. It's all decorative BS, right? But I might have to make 2 sets of ribbon cable clamps. One for, yeah, because the boat one's fine. If I use this size piece for the boat tape, the RV tape, it's fine. I usually have 1/2 inch on either side, and I can put a, you got a camera set up this kind of crap, Odin. So I've got my ribbon cable. Oh, it's here. Problem is I can't see it because my glasses aren't on. I can't see on the monitor. I got my ribbon cable template, and as I move it over here, I've got a pencil's worth of corner on that side and a pencil's worth of corner on this side. So this is perfect for the RV cable, but this is not big enough for Odin's overdone cable, Odin's monster disaster cable. So we can at least cut the first one out for the boat cable. And I probably should pay attention to chat when I'm actually talking to people. I feel like I'm directly talking to people here. Oh, Steve E just lets me know that, oh, this is easy. Just make more ribbon cables. They don't take long. For some reason, I feel ever so slightly called out. Oh, none of these are that good. All right. If only you had a ruler. I should probably pay attention to my lovely people. That's all right. Mogwai is offering me a different cable. Yep, Sean Fortune is exactly what I'm doing. Make a temp one first out of the cardboard, then work out if they need a little adjustment. That's pretty much what I'm doing. Can I send you a pic of my ribbon cable clamp on my pack for reference? Yeah, that'd be great, Bryce. My phone number is... Hey, the Adventures Alex Stoner is here. That's awesome. Hello, Alex. How's it going? One of the really cool things as I look at the... I got a frightening knife on my finger. Here it is. That's not in focus though. Whatever. I'm playing with the knife. Get this out of the way. Yeah, I'm afraid I gotta get you. Anyway, goofy knife. If you look at the Bill Murray pack reference photos that the Ghostbusters fans have online, the curve, in order for the ribbon cable clamp to match up to the cyclotron, is not cut out carefully at all. And there's a pretty big gap, like lose a Lego gap. And it's makes me feel good that, oh, that's what I'm emulating. I can do that. All the love though, because this thing is the love of the project and the love of the thing, right? I'm not trying to, yeah, I'm bagging on it, but I'm not trying to be an ass and bag on it. I'm trying to, have fun. If you had a sharp blade, that would have been cut the first time. I do kind of like this knife, kinda, but it's a very tight fit on me. Now, I'm pretty sure this will be fine for the small, but I'll need to make this a couple of pencils larger to fit the other one. Should double check that this curve fits my cyclotron. I know you guys can't see me, but yeah, that fits just fine. It's actually not perfect, but it fits just fine. I will use the edge of the cardboard so I'm not having to cut that line out. So I'm here, I'm here. And if I what I'm going to do is take my pattern and slide it. What is in the way? Oh, my drink's in the way. I got my original pattern piece here. I'm sliding it along the arc so I can kind of continue that arc well beyond where it is. So this is going to be like a super oversized ribbon clamp, ribbon cable clamp, which does not directly connect to the P-tube. And now if I do like a pencil width on top of this, which is around there, and a pencil width, which is around there. So I've got my approximate, this is the original width, this is my new approximate widths of where I'm going to go. What I want to do is take a ruler and lay that up against the back side of the cardboard, and then bring this edge. So by having this edge of the ruler along the edge of the cardboard, they're parallel and straight. And I'm going to assume the factory cut the edge on a 90 because they're pretty good at doing things like that. I'll do the same thing on the other side, and I'll end up with corners that are 90 degrees, even if they're not placed the same on the arc, which I can see they're not. This arc looks higher than that one. Yeah, not by much. But it is asymmetrical, so this, in a computer world, I would take this line and nudge them a couple of pixels this way in order to have the peaks of the arcs on the side be the same. And I suppose I can try and do that. That's actually good enough. And that should still be big enough, good enough. So let's cut that out. Using our fancy finger looking good. Okay, don't do that. I have Odin's number. One moment. Thanks, Dan. Let me make sure I don't miss any calls here. Oh, wow, I got lots of stuff here. So this Friday, Felicia, our good friend Gonzo, is going to have is going to have a art exhibit at the Crocker Art Museum here in Sacramento. Last night I made his Raul Gonzo, that's his name. I made his logo for the wall, it's just for the sign that goes on the wall, because he wanted a 3D representation of yarn art that he did. So I put wire inside of rope and bent it all around to make it look like something new to show. Bucks, okay. Crushed, someone's covering up addresses on a crushed bucks. So we'll be showing that off very shortly too. So Gonzo's doing this thing. One of the things that's being set up in the exhibit are the airplane seats. He's got 3 rows of 3 airplane seats he purchased from a decommissioned aircraft. And now he's asking if we can 3D print parts for it. I think he wants to have the ashtray covers. That's how old these seats are. They have ashtrays in the armrests. He's missing a couple of ashtray covers. I think he's asking to get some ashtray covers 3D printed. So I have to talk to Shop Grumman about that, because, you know, they have no idea what I'm talking about right now because they're totally not in the room right now listening to me. That was awesome. The body language went from, I'm doing a thing, doing the, what? At least that's the way I read it. I could be wrong, but it was more fun to share it that way. Anyway, might be 3D printing and acetone bathing some crap here this afternoon. So anyway, what did Ashley say? I was just trying to check for messages from Bryce. Oh, okay. It had to do with the box that showed up. Thank you, Ashley. So I'm cutting this thing out. Safety third. That's a Cause Tools blade I just stuck into a number 11 X-Acto knife handle. Yeah, I needed to cut foam or something. I don't think I've got enough. I think the rust really adds to the whole thing. Remember, kids, the best place to store razor blades is inside of the apples when you put them in the kitchen. That actually cut through in one try. Whereas this green finger one didn't. Yeah, you know what? You just talked about how if you do this thing, it's all square. And now you're going to just arbitrarily line it up as if you can get a straight line. If I also take a little piece of, there we are. A little piece of, hey, I'm almost on screen. Look at that. Sorry, camera 4 is so dark. So I got this is a scrap piece of the Centro we made the science balls out of for the Emmys. I'll put that up against the cardboard, which gives me something I can put the ruler up against, and hey, now everything's in the same line, just that quick and easy. Okay. Come on, slide. Am I still on screen? Barely. Am I on screen the other way? Barely. Because it's not a mirror, so it doesn't work like a mirror at all. Got a big spoon and a little spoon. So I got my, yeah, that's how much of a difference there is between the two tapes. I've got the boat tape, which is plenty, because remember, we pulled like a whole section of color off those ribbons. And then we've got the oversized monster ribbon that Odin made. This guy is 4 3/4 inches or almost 12 centimeters. This one is 9 centimeters or 3.5 inches. So a bit of a difference between the two. Let me just toss all the knives off to one side because I can't possibly be hurt by those. Let's put the little cap back on that guy, and then I can throw it. And then it not move anyway. That was actually really well cut, even though I wasn't intending on that. Okay. Yep, this won't fit out of that one. I might just cut it all out of this. Can this get from this side? No, okay. This is gonna get noisy. So what I'm doing, I got a piece of view channel, and I'm intentionally holding, oh hey, now the dark camera's working in my favor. And I'm holding my pattern piece inside the piece of aluminum U-channel because I just want this black back flat piece. I got the pattern up against the this vertical wall, so I'll make a cut down that wall, which means I'll actually lose a little bit, but whatever, life sucks. And okay, I'll offset those. So can you see through my hand? So I'm going to want to cut those. And then I'm going to want to cut, these are smaller. So I'm going to have this slightly off the wall here. It's maybe 1.5 millimeters. It's not very much at all. But about the width of the blade, which should be pretty thin. The blade's what, 1/16 of an inch or less? The same thing on the other side, about the same. They can always be sanded down because they're going to be rough. And then I'll have these wall pieces left over that I can use on the inside, which I know you really can't see anything now. Sorry about that. I'll need one for the small set, and I will need one for the large set. So these pieces will be the plate that goes inside of the foam proton pack. That will be to support the metal parts and the cable against the foam, right? Even though it's going through, no, I'm not going through the cyclotron, I'm going through the wall, so it should be okay. What I really need to do is stand here and tap on the aluminum more because that is good TV. Okay. Emmy award-winning crap right here. You're welcome. How well did the patterns fit? Now that I've committed to Sharpie aluminum, because there's no way I can ever take alcohol and rub aluminum off, what we want to know is, can I find the spot that I want? Oh, that's the bottom of the cyclotron. There we are. Probably have to do it this way because the way the camera is angled. This is me trying to work at the TV. And camera 4, cut. So here's the small pattern piece, which matches up decently. Is it perfect? No. Matches up decently. Here's my extended pattern piece, which matches up slightly better than poorly, so that'll work fine. Okay, now for the part we've all been waiting for. Not really. I get to go cut this crap out on the bandsaw. I want safety glasses because I'm going to be spitting little bits of aluminum everywhere. You can always put on the awesome mask that Shock Roman got me for, you know, looking into acetone baths. If you're going to play with acetone vapors, wear a vapor mask. And the one that's got eye protection is actually really cool. This was cheap. It was like $27 on Amazon, $30 on Amazon, $35 on Amazon. Well, it's going up. But still, it's pretty cheap. Just the front face one that I normally wear, that was like $50 from Home Depot. So. There we go. You know, I'm on a show that's not sponsored by Ryobi, but is. So I wear my Porter Cable branded safety glasses that I can almost see through and go work on my Craftsman bandsaw. All right, let me turn my mic way down because I don't want to be too freaking loud. All right, for all of you wearing headphones, here's I just turned it down, so now you're going to turn it up so you can hear me, right? Aluminum is really noisy on a bandsaw, so if you're wearing headphones, you might want to take them off. So we're gonna Gonna cut to a nice dark shot. I'll walk over here and turn the light around so we can kind of see. And hopefully I can keep my body out of the way. Can they see? I think you guys can see. Kind of stuck with this shot. Doesn't really matter if you can or not. So this whole guard thing here in the back, yeah, that's actually kind of important. The closer you have that to your work, the more stable the blade's going to be. So I probably should lower that down to be closer to the work to keep the blade more stable. Let me go ahead and attempt to be a decent tool user. Wouldn't you know it? You cut something with metal on a saw, it gets hot. Who would have known? Wow, why is metal getting hot? didn't cool down by much, but I did a little bit. That is uncomfortably hot. That's hot. It's hot, I tell you. It's hot. Go figure. Turn the light back around. All right. Turning my audio back up. Oh, this is not working the way I want to at all. Two. Yeah, that's better. All right, how's that? Audio check. Everyone okay with that? Everyone still have ears? Anyone with headphones? I'm real sorry, guys. Ralph says, I can relate to hot metal. Don't worry, Ralph. Most of the aluminum bits, most of the aluminium bits, I'm gonna save because there's gonna come a time when I'm gonna be able to melt that down and do something with it, even if I just make biscuits out of it. Yeah, I want to melt some aluminum. That'd be kind of cool. But yeah, it's hot. Hey, Ralph. I'm gonna need these still. Oh, look, I got mail. You got mail. Sean says, a little deaf, but don't worry. Yep, nope. I love my small bandsaw. Absolutely, Steve D. Sounds good to me. That's good. Thank you, Ralph. Audio good. Yes, it is too hot to handle, Journey. Jerry says, I got to get me one of those. Yes. Everybody, let's go to Jerry Can Cosplay's channel and let's give him just a little bit on his next live stream so he can go get himself a little bandsaw because holy crap, Zot was right. That was a really useful tool to have. It was one of those things that Zot was, you know, in Zot's garage. When I was staying there, he gave me really low rent on a monthly basis, which was fantastic. But one of the things he wanted in addition to that was a couple of tools. And one of them was a bandsaw. And he was telling me, oh, don't worry. Once you get to be using a bandsaw, you're going to use all sorts of stuff with that bandsaw because it is useful for all sorts of crazy things. So I'm like, what do I want a bandsaw for? Yeah, I got two now. Yeah, two. So yeah, and the ones that have a floor standing because, you know, I buy big stuff. Honestly, the majority of the things that you and I do, Jerry, we could do with a tabletop version. The only really big advantage, aside from it being big, of the floor standing one is it has a deeper throat. That's the distance between the blade that's doing the cutting and that bar on the side that holds the whole upper portion up where the other half of the blade is. Because the blade's just one big rubber band that's running through. It's not rubber band, but it's a big band, right, that goes through it. So that side over here is a protective channel that the upstroke for the band is as it spins its way around. So the distance between those two, which these guys are like squint, 14 inches. So 400 millimeter, 350 millimeter, nice and big. Tabletop one's going to give you more like 250 millimeter, 300 millimeter. Still not bad, but not as big. That's the only real advantage. The motor strength for what we're doing is inconsequential. A lot faster to use a hacksaw. Yes. Dan Does Junk says, youtube.com at JerryCanCosplay. That's right. Water Odin. Yes, Ralph. Or no, Bernie. Yes. Oh, Ralph had a typo for his goot to me, but you know, works. Lion Primal, do I support other YouTubers? I'm not sure if I'm supporting any of the YouTube. Yeah, I do believe I'm on the Patreon for Try to Finish Something. But otherwise, absolutely, I support them by giving them credit. I support them by buying patterns from them. I actually paid for the pattern, even though you don't have to. I paid for the pattern for these Proton Packs from Chris from Lost Wax Oz. Gave him a lot for it too, because I was going to be making videos from it. So totally, I support the YouTubers. YouTube is big enough that more people on here isn't a problem. It's not like TV where there's only a few channels and everyone's fighting for eyeballs. On YouTube, you guys will watch if you want to, when you want to. It's fine. It's so relaxed. It's great. All right. So I've got two different sizes. It is 1 o'clock. I'm all excited about this because something's happening. But I've got mail. I've apparently got 2 packages that have shown up. And I don't know. Well, I don't know what either one of them is exactly. I have an idea what one of them is because Stupid Monkey sent it to... Yeah. I know what one of them is because Stupid Monkey. Wow! You're watching, right, Stupid Monkey? I know what one of them is because Stupid Monkey sent it to me, and I remember when we were talking in a private Discord chat back and forth about a project that he was working on, and I'm hopeful that that project is in this envelope and I can actually fiddle and play with it now, because if it's not, all this explanation right now is pointless. But it probably is. And then there's this other box that's got blue tape on it that's sent to Odin Makes from I don't know where, that I don't know what's in it. So, okay, guys, which one do I open first? Magical Mystery Box that's been crushed, or Stupid Monkey? Patreon. I'd hum and ha the Jeopardy music at this point, but the algorithm would get pissed off at me. Stephen Hall, first one in that says box. Box. All right, we got 2 for box. Stupid Monkey, you get to wait. Box. What? What's in the box? All right, it better not be that. I got a box from Blue Tape, U.S. Parcel. All right. We've got a catalog. Why do I feel like this is something that Shop Gremlin ordered? One-stop PCB assembly service and hardware for makers. It's Elecro. Elecro turns 10 with their 10th anniversary campaign. That was 2 months ago. We have a... oh, look! They sent stickers. 3D print stickers and game stickers and laser cut stickers. So what's in the box? Welcome to the Odin Makes live stream channel where I do an unboxing video of... Oh, that's what that is. Oh, it's actually related. I think. Possibly related. What's in the bag? Okay, what's in the bag? In the bag are a pair of, it's black on black with tiny little speakers and a dark camera. So let's cut camera 3 because it's got a higher iris. Yeah, little tiny, decent quality speakers. So these are speakers that are not wired at all the same as the last ones I looked at, Shop Gremlin. Okay, these ones go to Pi. But these probably good enough to run Proton Pack sound effects. I do believe they're going to go into a different project that Shop Gremlin is working on. So these specific units probably won't go in the Proton Pack, but they could. What they could do is go in the wands, actually. These would be really good for the Neutrino ones. But yeah, cool. These are, there's no, I'm not seeing a, what do you call it? Packing list. So I have no idea how many monies this costs, but this costs a few monies. But no, that's cool. And I'm assuming that with the 2 plugs, we got our 5-volt power plug for the USB, and then we got a 3.5 millimeter plug for audio. So cool. What was in the box? In the box was speakers for Raspberry Pi builds. And stickers. Oh, I even flashed a QR code at you guys. It's a nice catalog. Let's just wad that up like we're in high school and shove it in our pocket. Why not? It's all right. No, that's cool. What project exactly is Shop Gremlin working on in addition to everything else you see on screen? You can see it on Patreon. Now you can see it, no you can't, but you can see it on Discord, which you get to by Patreon. So if you want to see some of the work in progress that Shop Gremlin is willing to share, please check out Odin Makes on Discord. And in order to get access to the Discord, you go check out patreon.com/OdinMakes / what the fuck is Shop Gremlin making? No, that actually doesn't work, but you know, could. So, did I spend enough time on the speakers? I got this weird look. Probably because I dropped the F-bomb more than anything else, but. What's it? Box within a box? Oh, was the box being squished? Oh, I see. It was the more fun for them was just how crushed the box was, right? I kind of looked over that. Why? Because I'm used to the Postal Service, you know. The American Postal Service is way better than the story that I want to tell. But my association is strong enough. This one time at Burning Man. So out at Black Rock City on Burning Man, they've always had the Postal Service out there. Now, they don't have official U.S. Postal Service people. They might, but it's not like an official U.S. Postal Service present. Yeah, whatever. But back in 2000 or the late 90s, when Burning Man was still really small, when people were happy to take advantage of the fact that you were in the Nevada desert, which meant a lot of the rules were off, and you could, Nevada is a fairly gun-friendly state, especially when you're outside of city limits, which Burning Man was absolutely out in the desert. So, yeah, the guys who would deliver mail for the Black Rock Postal Service would dress up in secondhand postal uniforms with an AK-47 and walk up to you, "Here's your mail!" And that's the way they would deliver the mail at Burning Man. Now, times have changed. They don't actually take real firearms out there anymore because there's too many people, and that's just a dumb thing to do. They literally had drive-by shooting camp. I missed it by 1 year. You go out there, you hang out the back of a Gran Torino. Hey, do you want a revolver? Do you want a semi-automatic, you know, pistol? What speed do you want to drive while you're shooting at targets hanging out the back of a 70s car? I missed that. But it's okay because it's a lot safer. You don't hear gunshots going off all night. So I'm okay with that. But Shock Roman seems upset that I tossed the speakers. They're in bubble wrap. So the U.S. Postal Service, there is a term going postal because there was so much stress and anger on both sides from the customers, on the postal workers, that they would get upset, and some of them lashed out violently. That's actually not a funny part of the story because people really did get hurt. So there became this kind of slang for going postal, meaning that I'm going to get really upset and fly off the handle like a postal worker and do something violent and stupid, which plays into what Burning Man was doing. I really don't want to get into the details because people got hurt and that isn't funny. You know, having fun at Burning Man is. I have more mail. I have mail from Stupid Monkey. I have me from Stupid Monkey. I've got me because I couldn't say it earlier, so I'll just try to make fun of myself now. I got a package of Stupid Monkey. I'm hoping this relates to the what we were just talking about in private messages on Discord. And what's really awesome is this is actually my P.O. box. So anybody, if you want to send me a Christmas card or you just want to like bundle up some of your junk mail from a foreign country and ship it to this post office box, go right ahead. I'll open it up on air and we'll all have a laugh. Okay. You get junk mail in Ireland, right? You get stuff that you didn't want to have show up. You know, your adverts for whatever. Tesco. Adverts for Tesco and Lion's Tea. All right. It's what I thought it was. He even made destructions. Yep. So what this is there's a Lego kit. Oh, there's more pieces hidden inside here. Open and behold the other bag. But first, have a great day. That's what it says here, and inside is the other bag. Can we? No, it's just too much light. You can't see through it. But there's more parts in here that Stupid Monkey kept separate. So I got myself a baggie of Lego parts. There it is. Yeah, Lego. Okay. Oh, so there's parts to build both? Oh, wow. Okay. So, Stupid Monkey took it upon himself to make a brick-built minifig-sized version of Godzilla, and then realized once he'd done that, was that the direction he went, or did he start with King Kong? I think he started with Godzilla. But then he made King Kong. That's what should be what is in this other packet. And then realized that once he made a minifig brick-built version of Godzilla, it wasn't too hard to modify it to be Mecha Godzilla. And I believe that's all these parts are. So direct from Canada, we have a custom Lego kit from Stupid Monkey. Okay. So we're going to take, we got the one that's got the pegs on all four sides. And we got the one that's, no, not that one, that's headlight piece. Is it? Oh, this pegs on all four sides for both. Okay. So these two guys want to go together. And step 2, we're going to add the classic headlight piece to the side. And then another classic headlight piece. Let's get the pile out of the way of the camera so keep my big old meaty hand out of the way. You guys just watch me cut metal and have my hand probably in the shot, so let's not do the same with the Legos. I think that's the focal spot. And then on the back, looks like we have another classic headlight piece. What is the back? The back is the opposite of the receptacle, because the receptacle and on the back is going to be the double stud. So this piece goes in the lower of the double stud with a stud up. So this is the headlight bit. Now on the chest we have, is it only that shape? Yeah, okay. We got our our half round plate. Yeah, you can totally see what that is. It's a plate where it's square in the bottom and up in the top between my fingers before it fell. It is half round, and that is going inverted on the top, like that. And then we have a couple of the horizontal clips. And these are representing his big old T-Rex hands, because let's face it, Godzilla's arms are better than a T-Rex's, but not by a whole lot. Okay, there we go. Now I've got a 1x2, just this way to be seen. Put it on the paper, you can probably see it. It's a 1x2 and 2 dark gray cheese wedges. Got one of those and one of those. And the 2 dark gray cheese wedges go on the 1x2 with the peak meeting in the center. And I believe this makes his little noggin. And that goes on. So now we got a head with 2 arms. We got his little chest detail. And then we're going to make his thighs a little chunkier, because let's face it, Godzilla's got some seriously chunky thighs, by adding one of these half round square tiles on either side. There we are. So half round square tile on the side. Doing the little micro Godzilla thing. And then we're going to take another couple of the horizontal clips, and these are going to become his toes. Try and keep it in the center of the frame, Odin. Now we're going to turn around backwards, and we need another dark gray cheese wedge. This becomes the back of his tail, the end of his tail, shortened for reasonable brick building use. And then we have a pair of transparent blue cheese wedges, because Godzilla's spines are way cooler when they're glowing blue, because atomic breath is about to lay waste to everything in sight. Then, oh, okay, right. Oh, wow. Did I? He specifically shows a dark gray gold bar piece, but I'm not seeing that. I may have a substitution here. I don't see it on Mecha Godzilla either, but I do have the light colored one for Mecha Godzilla. So I'm assuming the gold bar piece, which you probably can't see that small. When Lego first made these, they made them in like a gold metallic, and they've got a slight bevel to the edges. Boy, that's really hard to see past my giant meaty fingers. And they have these little inset ridges here in the top. And the whole thing is actually taller than a normal plate by just a little bit. It's like a plate and a half in height, I think. No, it's normal plate height. Nope, I was wrong. Anyway, it's normal plate height. But I've got a plain dark gray plate here, because chances are that color isn't available in the dark gray. And I'm going to put that on and push it forward to match the open stud thing here. And that kind of, because he's got his big meaty tail, right? So that's kind of fleshing him out that way. Can you see that? It's a little tiny brick-built Mecha Godzilla. He's actually smaller than minifig, but he's freaking cool. I bet you. Yeah, he might fit on a plate. He might fit on a really dusty minifig stand. Yeah. The upside down plate clears the studs, so he does actually fit, sort of, because he's offset, because he's, his feet are, tore his foot off. Sorry, dude. Best part is my Godzilla has got a regenerating factor, a lot like Wolverine. That's why we're going to have Godzilla -2, right? I don't know that for sure, DJ Stumpy, don't quote me on it, but. Okay, now we got Mecha Godzilla, which is going to be built almost the same. I think this yellow is probably a lot nicer for the camera than the white. Fans are going to blow away my destruction sheet. Okay, so same thing. We're going to start out with, so these bricks are the ones that have the studs on all four sides, right? And we're going to take two of them and stick them together. So the receptacle is poking out and forward on the bottom one. So this one went on the side of this one, and the receptacle side's going that way. And that's the primary torso. And then we add three more of those classic headlight pieces. These are one of the first pieces that had a stud on the side, slightly recessed. A lot of the old town cars use these to hold headlights on them. That's why I'm calling them a headlight piece. And those are the legs, with one that goes backwards with a stud up on the back for the tail. So we're getting there already. And then for Mecha Godzilla, we're going to add a single 1x stud. We're going to add a couple more. These are in frame, right? There we are. And a printed piece, which is not in frame. There we are. So we're going to do the arms again. No, we're not. We'll do the arms last because I have to get those last. So a single 1x plate that goes on top to give them a slightly taller neck. We've got a dial, basically. So he's got like a power gauge or a fuel gauge, because it's funny, because Mecha Godzilla has his chest laser. So we've got some sort of decal here to make fun of that. And then, or pay homage to it. Homage, something like that. Mirage. A couple of clips. Oh, look at that. That's kind of cool. They turn too. Yeah, you can turn at the waist. A couple of clips for his nice little short arms. And then for his head, it's a little bit different. We still have the 1x2 plate, and we're going to use one cheese wedge. And then we're going to use a 1x1 plate for the nose portions. The 1x1 plate goes on, and the cheese wedge goes behind it, because Mecha Godzilla is kind of definitely has a different head shape than Godzilla does. Mecha Godzilla will not fit inside of Godzilla no matter what, but it's really fun to pretend that's the way it works in the movie. And so that goes there. On 13, we're going to have two more of these half-round wedges. And wedges. It's not a wedge, it's a half-round plate. Get your terminology right, dude. And a couple more of the horizontal clips for feet. Those didn't even make it on screen, did they? Sorry, guys. Alrighty, so for Mecha Godzilla, we're going to take three more light gray cheese wedges. 2 and 3. One's going to go on pointing down. That's where Godzilla went to. On what would be the top of the headlight piece. And then we're going to have one pointing away. You know, kind of like Godzilla's blue one, right? Because by putting one that way, and then we put one, sorry, it's all fingers. This don't need big band-aids on this week. So we got one wedge here, one wedge there, and one wedge down there. And Super Monkey, I'm really impressed with the creativity of getting these two to fit together to give you the spines that run down the backs of these guys. That's, at something this small, that's really cool. And then, he puts the gold bar on the underside because of the tail. Now, I've got parts left over. In the classic, perfect, this is the way Lego kits are made, Stupid Monkey's kit, I've got 2 sets of 1x1 dark gray and light gray plates left over. And I am not seeing... Oh, okay, I missed one there. Oh, okay. So where did the other one go? Or do you give me the extra because it's fun? They get, there's a plate that goes here for the pot belly. Better give him the one that matches his color. Okay. All right, so now I've got a plate left over. Does this go in the tail? No. Yeah, I missed those. Wow. Well, I'm only on camera doing this live, so surprise, I missed something. Looks like those are extra parts done in the classic Lego sense. That's really kind of cool. You could make the necks longer. Don't need to. They look great. And it's neat that oh, put your hand out of the way. The tiniest amount of posability, right? We can actually kind of make them stand next to each other. They can even, Mecha Godzilla can be a little wide-toed, and Godzilla can be a little bit pigeon-toed. No, actually you can't because the plate doesn't want to let that happen. But the gold brick did let that happen. Interesting. Let's go ahead and push that underplate forward. Does it go down there? No, it's not on the... It's none of the instructions to go down there either. Although it's... Oh, I just did this out of order. That's all right. Cool. So we got Godzilla and Mecha Godzilla brick-built minifigs. Who could possibly be in here if it came from Stupid Monkey? Ah, okay. It's not what I thought it was. I thought it was going to be Kong. No. Oh, that's really kind of fun. What we got going on here is, so on Discord, at least sharing with me, he did make a King Kong. Come on, bag, open up without tearing. There we go. But instead here, oh wow, one of those bricks. Those are not common for me. This is the 2 tall plate, right? So you get a normal plate that's 1 plate tall, and there's the plate that's 2 plates tall, and then if something's 3 plates tall, it's a brick. So we're putting that on that with the tan piece, and then the round plate goes on top. So what is that? Well, this isn't actually the finished thing. It sort of looks... Who's the dude that bosses the tanks around on Thomas the Tank Engine? That's not Mr. Top Hat or the policeman. What this is the replacement for Mecha Godzilla's broken noggin for the end of the movie. There we go. And there's a little handwritten note on the instructions here. It says, there are lots of ways to build your friends with Lego, but this is how Monkey built. Okay, this is really cool. How to make Odin happy? Give him the tiniest little Lego kit. Yeah, this is pretty cool. I'm really tempted to take these extra parts just to make the necks taller. Yeah, kinda. I think I like him with a shorter neck. You know, Godzilla's got a decent neck on him because that's where the performer's head is. I think he looks better with a shorter neck. Cool. Thank you, Stupid Monkey. Hope everyone else at least had some fun watching me put these things together. That's cool. Unlike the slightly expensive speakers that came from, I'm not going to throw this one because it's not bubble wrapped and I don't want the parts to fall out in flight. That's really cool. Thank you very much. That's awesome. It was a lot of fun talking with you on Discord about when you're working on this and what your process was. Yeah, that's cool. That's really cool. That's really, really cool. That's really, really cool. Bernie Davis says, the best stories start with this one time at Burning Man. It's nice from the dark web. Let's see. Dr. G. McGee says, either way, it's not going to be Gwyneth Paltrow's head. Not at that size, no. Well, I wasn't frightened before, but seeing that crazy look about drive-by shooting camp, I'm not worried about you, Odin. Oh, Dr. G. McGee, it was all done with as much safety as you could possibly get at Burning Man. The drive-by shooting camp was done outside of Burning Man city limits, and they would... there was an area that was off limits because it was downrange and there was no real control over somebody who was hanging out the back of a Gran Torino. Oh, I'm a Grand Theft Auto. So that whole area was no hikers were allowed. It was a couple of miles to the mountain range. So there was an attempt at safety. Best way to put it. Groot is here. Hi, Odin. How you doing today? Pretty good. Talking about Burning Man. Got to cut up some aluminum and build some little micro Godzillas out of Lego. And Steve D said, I just had a Tesco advert. I'm just dumb for even asking. Ad Vixen says, straight from Canada, presenting an American playing with a DOS German blocks. I don't believe these are German blocks. Speaking of mail envelopes, man, you should have seen when my sister's kids, 20 and 17, tried to open their post that they got. They slaughtered that envelope, shredded to unrecognizable pieces. Shredded, you say? Now that you're done building it, Odin scale, say it with me, Odin scale. Okay. 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 Groot says, I'm a little bit concerned that Godzilla shows her whole thing like that. Godzilla's just got a big old Buddha bed, like, not quite, but, you know, because that's a totally different culture. But if you look at Godzilla, he's got a big old gut. It's just the way the costume's always been, and whatever. Groot also agrees with Ad Vexen. We need a supersized version of this. Louis Causey says, watching a 50-year-old kid? Yes, you are! Bernie Davis is saying Lego Mini Ghidorah build? Ghidorah, yeah. So is it... Okay, I originally read that as Ghidra, the three-headed golden dragon, but I think this might be Ghidorah. Yes, this is a Mini Ghidorah build, is absolutely what I did, as well as Mecha Godzilla. Mecha Ghidorah? They didn't call him that. They called him something else that didn't got translated poorly. When I first saw Mecha Godzilla in the theater, when I got excited to go see Mecha Godzilla in the theater with my poor media abused mother, it was because the ads on TV, I was 6, it worked well for Battle of the Planets earlier in this live stream. They were calling it the Bionic Monster. The $6 million man, the Bionic Man, Steve Austin, that was huge at that time. It was still on TV. I think Bionic Man was 74, 75. So here comes this movie in 76. And yeah, trying to capitalize on that. Only realizing after the posters were struck and advertising got started that, oh wait, bionic is a copyrighted word. We can't use that. Oops. And so all that was removed and became something else. It wasn't Robot Monster. It got called something else, and then it got called Godzilla versus Mecha Godzilla. But there was an interim name that I'm not remembering right now. But the fact that it was called Bionic, the Bionic Monster, or whatever I said earlier, that's what got me excited to go and see it. Groot says we're referring to the hole in the Lego fig. Yeah, of course. Bring back the cloth Kates for a Mothra build. That's what Advexen says. And getting ready for work. Yay, Muddy. Hey, how's it going? Yep, nice. Muddy should be going, we're not in Oklahoma though. Creators Con is going to have me come out again in November out in Lafayette, which is so close to Oklahoma. But hey, how's it going, Muddy? I meant Mothra. Dang, autocorrect. Yeah, at least I was able to Odin correct over Mother's and figuring it was Mothra, context clues and all that. Alrighty. I got to play with Legos. Yeah, all right. I got so many other things that are important for me to do. It's a bummer that at this point in time, I'm excited about an Odin scale Lego build, but I don't have the bandwidth to do it. Keep bugging me about it. All right. Stuff from the shop moved. The table is not where it usually is. I just bounced off it like a pinball. This all by itself is not too bad for the microphone. I hope that combined with aluminum, it isn't going to be too bad for the microphone. So how good are my, well, it's actually not bad at all. Those are really close to the same size. That's good. And these are really close to the same size. I failed to cut out the back plates, but I'll get to that, and that's whatever. They're not that exciting. So all I want to do is take the handheld belt sander to heat the aluminum up so it burns my fingers. But in the process, I'm hoping to get the burrs off the side and kind of smooth everything out. And then I can take my pattern pieces and I will just put a arbitrary circle on one side in order to put the screw holes on, right? Because you just kind of do the thing and they'll end up being much closer than if I drew two dots. I'm going to draw them out by hand, so they're never going to be perfect, but like anything I build's perfect. Louis Cossey says, bionic is short for biological and electronic. I guess it got replaced by Borg and Cyborg. Cyborg is earlier, I think. Something Cyborg was the original short story or novel the $60 Million Man got inspired by. But yeah, they went with bionic in the show. And I'm pretty darn sure bionic is specific for that show. I don't think it was being used prior. But you guys have the internet in front of you and I don't. I'm just vomiting out onto it. So feel free to correct me and we'll all learn something. Just delay the Proton Pack another year and build Odin scale minifigs. You know, if we can get the Proton Packs done for the next Ghostbusters movie, we're doing pretty good. Sorry, guys. Oh, this is great. I got a fan right here. Let me blow this stuff right in my face. You know, as far as mechanical sanding sounds, I don't think that's that bad, but I'm not the one wearing headphones. I'm the one wearing the microphone. So let me know, cybernetic organism. Let me know how bad that is for all of you poor earbud users. This earbud's for you. That works really, really well. I'm hearing laughter. I probably should check this out. Sounds like going to the dentist. Yeah, okay. Android? Right, well, droid came from android, bionic came from biological electronic, right, and cybernetic organism, cyborg, became Borg. So yeah, all those totally go together. Bernie Davis is bioorganic. Nice. I'm still more biological than I am artificial, but, you know, drink enough artificial sweetener that I'm going to change that at some point. Camera's a little low. There we are. So with this particular tool, there's a flat edge here, right? That when the belt's moving, it's actually hitting this flat plate. So you're actually sanding on a flat side. And the top edge here, this is the direction the belt's going and around this way. So you're supposed to sand on this side. I like sanding on this side, even though that's not, you know, necessarily designed for that, because it's springy. It's got this open thing. So I can take the sharper corners and actually use this tool a lot on the Emmys to, you know, see, I really rounded the corner off probably more than I should have. But I use this tool a lot sanding on the PLA Emmy and the ABS one. And this side here worked really well because it was never a flat edge going against an organic shape. This allowed for a slightly more organic moving that, I don't know, it worked better for my head. And as you can kind of see, I cut on the outside of the Sharpie line. See the Sharpie line still here? So I can sand, and even if I sand all the way through the Sharpie line, I've still got my original pattern piece. But for the most part, I'm not too worried about it. As long as they're close, you know, all they really have to be is close to each other. And they still are. Felicia, you're missing out on all the dust. I wouldn't really say I'm missing it. The chatter is fun. That's how you hurt yourself. Wait, I'm applying friction to metal when it gets hot? Really? What? Who knew? Ralph did. And even though the curves aren't perfectly matched, it doesn't really matter. There's going to be a ribbon cable between them. So I'm running my hands pretty close to the belt sander, you know, and a reasonable thing is, well, just how dangerous is this thing, Odin? I'm not even sure what grit of belt I've got on here. 180. Generally, it's really good at getting the super glue off your fingers from last night. It'll also be really good at taking down your nails. But that's only if you touch the edge. Also, I've got it set to a really low speed. But the edge here, the actual edge of the belt, right? This bit, yeah, that'll give you one heck of a nasty paper cut. So I try to steer clear of that. But as far as touching the blade, even while it's, or the belt while it's running, it's not that big of a deal. At least not to my callous hands. Would I recommend going home and doing it? No! I wouldn't recommend that. But it's not, I'm not terrified of it. How's that? Okay, so I really like to run my show till about 2 o'clock California time, and it is now seconds away from being exactly 2 o'clock California time. But I do have a set of ribbon cable clamps, and I suppose I should. Where's my board with my cables on it? Oh. 4. So I got the, there we are. I've got the big one that I made from flex tape. So that was the first one we did. So I got a big clamp that'll be able to go on either side of it. So you can see here, I've got plenty of space on either side for running screws through it, because in my head, that's really the way it's going to want to go. And the whole point behind this is to clamp the end of the cable. I'm sticking it in the middle for illustrative purposes, but the very end, bitter end of this cable goes into this clamp, and then it gets sandwiched here against the cyclotron. And so this becomes how it's connected to the cyclotron, and the cable just comes out this flat side. So I've got the big one for the big cable, and then I've got a smaller set for the smaller cable. Who gets which cable? I'm not too worried about it. Bet you think Felicia will get the smaller cable because it's prettier, actually. The RV tape worked a lot better. It's way more see-through than the flex tape. Camera, not so much. Flex tape is slightly fuzzy. Slightly, what do I want to say? Diffuse. It's milky, but the RV tape is very transparent, so I can see the cable colors much better. But both of these clamps have about the equal amount of space on either side for a clamping screw to go through it. So once the packs are far enough apart that it's a little harder to actually compare the two of them, they won't look that much different, and it's going to be okay. This will be just as good as a large polygonal Emmy on the stage at the Emmys, and it'll be fine and fun because everyone will see a Proton Pack, and it'll be great. And if you stay tuned until 2030, that's when we'll have this project done, and it'll be fun. Okay, hopefully it'll be done before then. But actually got a couple parts made. The inside, I'll probably just cut a couple of bars of aluminum from the leftover scrap. I marked it for that to mount this to it on the inside of the foam backpack, but honestly, big fender washers will work just as fine as well. So not too worried about it. The holes, I'm just going to drill. I don't have a camera set up for the drill press. That will probably wait until the next time Felicia's here. So let me set this aside, get some final comments from you guys. By the way, thank you very much. I was not in the best of moods when I started, but getting to do this with you guys, getting to play with Legos, getting to actually get something made for the Proton Packs, yeah, I'm feeling better. So thank you very much. I need you guys, and I appreciate you guys. Ralph says he was covered in copper dust this afternoon. Oh, good. Here we got some. Let's see. Add Vixum. Call Ryobi. Have them send you to Vegas because the idea of Star Trek Ryobi Borg is now in the ether. Oh, Cyborg 009. Oh, right. That was the name. That was the novel, right? That's the sort of this $6 million man came from. Is that what it is? Been using the 1200 watt angle grinder to cut dielectric motors. Okay, yeah. This tiny sound does nothing to me. Cyborg is a 1972 novel by Martin Kaladin that the 6 mm man was based on. The Swedish dub for Cyborg 009 is fantastic, and not because it was a great dub, because it's a terrible dub done by one single person. Certain things. Yeah, all right. I got lost even reading Groot's comment. So the Gordon Musey was saying that there's an Australian scientist named Manfred Kleins who coined the term in 1960. I assume this is cyborg, although they have been featured in sci-fi since the 20s, just not under that specific term. Correct. Wasn't Maria from Metropolis the first on-screen android cyborg, whatever? Wasn't she? I think so. Which of course became C-3PO. That's an awesome sender. I have to get one. Bernie Davis, yeah. Ryobi wasn't going to send me one. I was like, no, please, can I have one of those? That thing's great. And I have used it on everything since. Poor Shop Kremlin has to put up with this dang thing all the time. They just had a fantastic sale on them last Christmas season because I believe they came out with an improved model. As far as I know, the half-inch belt sander from Ryobi is still available. Adam Savage also calls them finger sanders. Because it's like a finger, right? You're not sanding your fingers, it's because it's like a finger that you're sanding with. The half-inch blade, the half-inch belts are the ones I get from Harbor Freight for nothing. I mean, they cost something, but they're cheap. So getting half-inch sanding belts, at least here in the States, is simple. Is there no way to mount that grinder to the table? Groot, I've got a couple of tabletop ones. I was just using that because it was simple to get it on screen right now. Even the blonde lady. So Advexen's probably trying to ask about the Bionic Woman, Lindsay Wagner. Yeah, I don't know if she was in the book or not. In the Bionic Man series, you had the Bionic Man, and then not too long after that, a whole second series came on called the Bionic Woman. And I believe the Bionic Man had a bionic eye that was like a telescope, practically, a microscope, whatever you needed to be. It was like Geordie LaForge's visor in one eye. You could enhance, you could do anything. The Bionic Woman had bionic ears. Not a huge stretch. She could hear for miles. Not a huge stretch. And I only say that because it seems like my mom could hear me for miles. I was probably just a loud kid. Anybody see the new series of Doctor Who? I have not yet. Black Doctor, we'll skip through this. Lion Primal has been a YouTuber for 8 months. Right on, Lion Primal. Go ahead and post your YouTube channel name. You guys are talking about Doctor Who, which is cool. Good night from Sweden. Good night, Groot. It's probably gone already. Have a good day, Odin and friends. And for folks in Europe, close to the Scandinavian time, line sleep tight. Thanks for the company. Yeah, thanks for the company, guys. Okay. 2030 that soon? Yes, Ace. Hopefully we'll be done just that quickly. Flex tape is filmy. Yeah, it is. Flex tape is just ordinary tape that has worked out. Yes, it's ordinary tape that's flexing. You are right. You know, flex tape is an acceptable FAA solution for fixing a windshield on a helicopter. So Odin, we got to talking about anime and Doctor Who, so Rabbit Hole confirmed. Nice. Hey guys, oh, it's Strictly Games. Hey Strict, thanks for joining in. It's time for us to say goodnight. No, it really is. It's 2:10. This is part of my prolapsed. Thank you everyone and good night. Going to be back, I think, in 2 weeks. My hope is that Felicia, her schedule is going to make it, and there is a tiny, teensy-weensy, little itsy-bitsy of a bit of a chance that Lee Braithwaite is going to be able to drop off the new melt-your-face-off hot sauce that he picked up from the Hot Ones channel. So he's got that. I've still got some of the Apollo stuff up there left over from the last time. I'm not going to do a whole episode on playing with hot sauce and eating Dinobites and all that. He's going to bring it over so I can try it, and I'm excited about it, and I'm salivating talking about it. So that may not be 2 weeks, but he says he'll probably do that in July. Now, Stockton Con is also coming up in July, so the every 2 week pattern may coincide with Stockton Con, so we'll shuffle the live stream by 1 week in order to accommodate for it. But my plan is to be back in 2 weeks. I'll see you guys later. Odin-sized Stupid Monkey design Mecha Godzilla Lego minifigs. Yeah, that's going to happen. Yeah, that's going to happen. Just not this week. Everyone, I want to thank you for tuning in. Odin Makes, I've got a Patreon channel. You know, I've got a Patreon thing. Most of you guys know this, but I'm supposed to say this, right? Because my producer says so. Oh yeah, who's your producer? Yeah, me. Patreon.com/Odin Makes. Please check out, if you supported the Discord level, you get access to our private Discord, which will get you a chance to be able to talk to me and Felicia and Dan Does Junk and Chop Kremlin and Ralph and Stupid Monkey, because we're all on there, and Cheese, hey Cheese, and talking about silly and stupid things, showing off the stuff we're working on, and as well as playing games. I've got a Minecraft server, and we play Among Us whenever we can. So please check out patreon.com/Odin Makes, and your support is what makes this channel happen. So thank you all very much. See you again very soon. Bye-bye.